When I was a kid, I read a book about a girl who had a photographic memory who would use it to solve mysteries around her school. And how she'd do it is she'd look around, take in all her surroundings, blink her eyes, and say, click. And that was supposed to resemble the shutter of a camera. I think her name was Cam now that I think about it, because, photographic memory. And as a kid, I thought that was the coolest freaking thing. I was like, I wish I had a photographic memory. That's like a superpower, man. Turns out I have the worst memory in the world, except when it comes to numbers. Literally, things come in and they come out. But that's beside the point. Something that I have implemented into my life from this book I read when I was 7 was this weird power. This weird power that you can just look around, close your eyes, click, and remember everything about your surroundings. There's just sometimes when I get overwhelmed with all the amount of memories that I'm making, and I want to make sure I stop and remember this exact moment. I don't want to forget this exact moment. And I've done it many times. One that is really fresh in my mind was the last day I was living in a bad flat. The day before I was moving in with a good friend somewhere very different, and I was walking on the street near this old flat, and I was thinking to myself, when will I ever see this street again? When will I ever possibly see the street feeling this exact way ever again? I don't think I will. I'd look at the lamps, I'd feel the breeze across, I'd hear the sound of my footsteps, and I'd look as I made my way towards the flat, and I'd look at it and go, I don't know if I'll ever see this again. Even though I wasn't in a good situation, I was like, I don't want to forget this exact moment. This fear of not knowing if I'm gonna have a job next month or if I'm gonna be in the country in terms of my visa, and also the excitement of moving in with a good friend and having new memories happen there. Like, there was so much going on in my mind, so much going on around me, I wanted to make sure, and so in my head I said, do not forget this moment, like, click, Sounds lame, right? I've taken this thing from a children's book, but it has helped me. I remember the first time I saw the Grand Canyon because at that very moment I went, do not forget this feeling of shock and awe, this crazy, mind-blowing experience that you've just seen in nature. And so I remember that exact moment, almost like a photosphere if you go to Google Maps. I have that in my head. And it's sad because I also do it in times when I feel like I shouldn't, like times when I'm with someone I really care about and we're making out or something, and then even though we're making out, I completely leave and I go into my own mind and I go, don't forget this is a really good moment. I'm almost like recording it in my head. But in the end, if I'm trying to remember it so much, am I actually experiencing it, or am I too busy being in my own head? I find myself in a lot of social situations soaking up into my own head and not experiencing it with my eyes, and I have to constantly push myself back out and do that. It's very strange. A lot of you might do the same thing without even realizing it, just in terms of how your memory works, because our memory really loves firsts, such as your first kiss, your first car, your first boyfriend. Those things put points in your timeline of life where you remember them very distinctly. But as you get older, there aren't as many firsts, except when it comes to travel. The more you travel, the more you see the world, the more your life expands, in my opinion. However, if you haven't noticed, I travel a lot. I travel so freaking... In the last 2 weeks, I've been in 3 different countries, and then in the next month, I'm going to 3 more. It's a bit much. Now, that might be confusing for some of you that are like, what do you mean? That sounds like the best life ever. All you do is travel. How could you not be happy about that? The truth is, I am incredibly happy about that. This is almost the ideal life that I ever thought I could have for myself. If I look back to myself when I was 18 and I said, what do you hope to do? It's basically what I'm doing now. I never expected this, but I get to travel and live my dream and live comfortably with friends and just see so much of the world, and countries will fly me out different places, and it's literally the coolest thing in the world. But the more that I travel, the less I have stability. Because when you are traveling, you're out of your comfort zone. You're experiencing other cultures in a different type of way, and you're sort of hilter-kilter. And the more I do it in terms of long periods of time where I do not return home, the more I just want to go home. Even though I'm experiencing such cool stuff and living my life, I just want to be in this room. I want to be in this bed doing nothing, or playing video games, or just watching videos on YouTube. There's this feeling where I am so unstable, even though I live a pretty stable life, I seek that. That's all I seek. And so if you have a life where you're just going to school, you're doing the same thing every day, and then every once in a while you get to travel, it'll be hard to comprehend that because you seek that instability every once in a while. Whereas for me, I live with that. I live in instability, and I just want some stability every once in a while. Now, saying that, hypothetically, I should be taking a break every once in a while to make sure my mental health is okay. But I'm in this situation where I'm 27 years old, I'm getting all these opportunities thrown at me, and I just fear that if I don't take them now, I'm not going to have them come a year, come 2 years. And I need to take every single chance I can to live life, to explore the world. And if I don't do it now, it's gonna be gone, and I'm gonna be living with regret. So that's why I travel so much. That's why I'm doing so much with my life, and I'm making sure I do German every day, because as I get older, I fear I'm not going to be able to do these things as much. So basically there's a war in my mind of, you need to take a break every once in a while, and you can't take a break, gotta do everything, don't want to regret. but you know, you will regret if you're not feeling very good. Nope, just gotta do everything, and you know, it's quite bad. It is hard to comprehend, like I said, if you're not in this type of situation, but I make these YouTube videos as a way to kind of express myself, as a way to vent, as a way to just talk about everything that's going on in my mind. The other day, I was hanging out with my brosif, Ollie White, and he had said to me a question I haven't heard in a very long time, actually, and that was, what's your plan for the next 5 years? What a question, Ollie. That's an interview question. I don't feel like I'm being grilled right now. I used to be ace at that question. You go into an interview and someone says, what's your plan for the next 5 years? Boom! I had all the answers. I'm gonna graduate from university, get a really good job doing something I love, and then I'm gonna like climb the corporate ladder, gain some skills, become fluent in another language. You know, the sky was my limit with that question. Nowadays, I honestly feel like I've done so much of everything I ever wanted to do. I know that sounds strange, but I am living my life the way that I wanted to, and I don't know how much different I can make it to make it that much better. I travel loads. That's all I ever wanted. I am becoming fluent in another language. That's all I ever wanted. I am living with friends and I'm having a nice time. That's all I could have ever wanted in life, and I'm living comfortably. Why would I want it to change? The only thing I can think of in the next 5 years that would be different is maybe I have a relationship. That's literally all that's left in my life. But otherwise, that question scares the frick out of me, man. People are asking what's next in your 5 years. I don't know. I used to know. I used to have this progression in my head, and now it's just me, but 5 years older. That doesn't sound very exciting, okay? You're not gonna get the job at that interview, not gonna happen. But what else do I say, really? I'm not trying to say my life is stagnated, but if it has, it's stagnated at a spot that's really happy and great, and I don't know where else I can go from there. And that sounds like probably the most first world problem ever, but that's, like I said, this is just how I'm feeling right now, and I want to make sure I'm always being a better person and always growing, and that's why I'm trying to do so much on the side. But maybe I'm just a bit too stressed with all the travel, with the work I'm doing part-time / sometimes full-time now, and I'm not giving myself enough time to just do nothing. So, the end of this video, basically, if you are in a situation where you feel like you're too stressed, doing too many things, for the love of God, take a break, even if there's opportunities you have to turn down, because even though you may have to turn down some opportunities, there'll always be more, and you don't have to feel like those are the only opportunities you're ever gonna have. I'm saying this and praying that I listen to my own advice, and don't even know if I will. I'd like to believe I'm going to change my ways and take breaks a bit more often, but then again, I have student loans, there's things I gotta do, I don't know. That's basically what's been on my mind for the most of this week, and also what's on my mind is, I wonder how people will feel about the fact that I decided to stop shaving. Why? Maybe I'm looking into a sick Halloween costume. Who knows? I don't think it looks that bad. I just definitely think it makes me look older. How does that make me feel? I don't know. It makes me feel like at least I'm doing something a bit different. And that makes me feel happy.